President-elect Madame Rajavi, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to be with you today for this event on the eve of Ramadan. It's a privilege to join you to defend in this conference and promote the cause of human rights, democracy, religious freedom in Iran, because as we all know, the human rights situation in Iran is dire and it's continuing to deteriorate as the authorities try to silence popular dissent. So we've gathered here today representing different religions and supporters of a secular Iran to show the world that the struggle of Iran is not a struggle between religions, but rather a struggle for people to achieve and enjoy simply their fundamental rights, shared by all of humanity. Christians, Muslims, Jews, Baha'i, members of the country's ethnic minorities, all are victims of oppression in Iran, and all have been brutally suppressed by the authorities for the last 4 decades. In fact, what we have in Iran is a regime that is simply misusing religion and invoking the name of God to justify and carry out terrible atrocities. Whereas belief in God actually involves belief in a common morality of justice and mercy, which truly is common to all the great religions. So activists of all sorts, human rights activists, dissidents, faithful Muslims, members of Iran's religious and ethnic minorities are all being arrested and sentenced and sometimes put in prison for long periods or even executed under this bogus charge of waging war against God or national security charges. This simply is immoral and in international law illegal. Christians aren't allowed to observe their faith in public. They're forced to gather for services in secret house churches. And even then, their homes and places of worship may be raided and their belongings confiscated simply because they're Christians. And those Iranians, many of them faithful Muslims, who condemn this crackdown and raise awareness of the ongoing persecution of Christians and others, they're also intimidated and harassed and arrested and imprisoned simply because they have the courage to speak up. So our gathering here today on the eve of Ramadan reflects this united front against the repression in Iran and reaffirms our belief in religious freedom, human rights and democracy for a future Iran, which is of course enshrined in the 10-point plan, which the NCRI President-elect Madame Rajavi is laying out. Today, we're highlighting the atrocities committed by the regime, and we call again on the international community to take action for the release of those who are held unjustly in Iranian prisons, whether members of Iranians' ethnic minorities or Christians or Muslims or activists for women's rights or against the death penalty or journalists or so many others. It is a tragic situation. We're here on the eve of Ramadan to stand in solidarity and to highlight abuses and to urge the international community to send a fact-finding mission to Iran to visit the prisons and meet the political prisoners and prisoners of conscience. And finally, we are here to call on the international community to end the impunity of Iran and to hold the regime and its leaders to account for decades of systematic human rights violations. I'm honored to add my voice to those calls. We need to continue to work together so that one day the people of Iran can enjoy the same rights and freedoms that we enjoy in the United Kingdom. I wish you well in the holy month of Ramadan. You are in our thoughts and prayers as you continue to struggle for a free, democratic Iran. Thank you.